Good morning, Stampers. Welcome to Laura's Dose of Stamping Therapy. I realize that this is technically like episode 1. I know it's the 14th of January and this is the first one, but with all of the fun that we had at Girls' Night Out last week, then I didn't do a Laura's Dose of Stamping Therapy because we got 2 full days of stamping therapy. Which, of course, you can always go back and look at those posts and everything. Even though Girls' Night Out is over, there's still lots of great information and ideas and inspiration that you can see there. So, yesterday, Claire went to school. So, I had lots of time to just play. Like, I decided not to work on other things and to just enjoy and play. And so, I have some things I want to share with you that I played with yesterday. So one of the samples I'm not going to show because I'm going to be using it for an event, but I'm going to show you how I use the leftover pieces. So I used the ombre, Oso Ombre Designer Series paper, which is a 6x6 pack. And here is the 6x6 piece of paper. So this piece is the piece that I used for a project for an upcoming event. This is actually it's a little off because I made it a smidge smaller. It's like 4 and an eighth, I think. No, it is 3 7/8, a smidge less than 4, and 5 1/8, a smidge over 5. So that piece I used for a different project. So I had these 2 pieces left over, and since I don't like to have scraps, I thought surely I can at least come up with something for this piece and do a card using all of those leftover pieces. So that's what I did. This piece, it's good for like the back side, but that super white part of the ombre, like it kind of doesn't look like anything. So I'm not so sure how much I'll use this. I'll probably use the back side of it though. So for this one, I created this card. Now, technically, it would be 2-inch squares, 2, 4, 6. And then I would use all of it. But 6 inches is not a card front. A card front maxes out at 5.5. And if I do any sort of layering, like showing off the card front and the whisper white, then we have to go smaller. So I did 1.5-inch squares. So I did end up with, a little bit of extra, which I can go ahead and cut and show you. Let me bring in my paper trimmer. So I went ahead and cut at 1.5, which this piece you could always use for the inside. I went ahead and stamped the inside of mine. Good morning, everyone. Make sure my comments are scrolling. How is everyone doing this morning? And then this one I cut at 1.5. 1.5, and 1.5. So I technically have another 1.5-inch square that of course I could use for something. I could also cut it diagonal. With it being so little, I might actually just cut it with scissors. And we're just going to wing it that it's straight across. And I'll show you how you could possibly use those. So now that we're using those pieces for this card, this is all we have left. But you could always use these on the inside of the card. So you could always add it right there, or you could always add it to the corners. That's actually super cute. I like that. I might actually do that. Let's adhere it down. And I just dropped my adhesive. Bending over is no longer something I like doing. Especially with this belly. Sometimes I'm like, yep, that's staying on the floor. Or I will sweetly ask Claire to pick it up for Mommy. And for the most part, she usually does. And then she apologizes for dropping it. I'm like, I dropped it, not you. It's okay. Oh, I like that. That is so super cute. So now we technically just have this piece left over, which I could always use for another project. I could also put this on the front of the envelope or something like that too. So yeah, definitely a great way to use the entire 6x6 piece. But I want to show you how I made this card. So because the paper comes with 4 different looks of paper, then I have to do it in every single one, right? So here I have it in the Blackberry Bliss. I went ahead and did a different greeting for this one. And then I still need to do the Dragonfly. But I'm going to show you these two. So this is Bermuda Bay and Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to adhere those squares. I actually do it, let's make sure. I actually do it where I place the bottom one down, place the top one down, and then just put the middle one somewhere in between. So there we go. So technically, like, my spacing between all of them is not perfect, but I do the top and the bottom ones and then just center as best I can that middle one, and that's how I do my spacing for that. Good morning, everyone. If you're just joining in, welcome to Laura's Dose of Stamping Therapy. I am playing with the Oh So Ombre Designer Series paper. This is one of the celebration items that you can get for free. Oops, that's the middle one. And I'm also playing with the Dragonfly Garden stamp set and coordinating Dragonfly Punch. Did I do this? Okay. This one. Sometimes trying to get that ombre is hard to see. Okay, so there we have our fronts. I just used just a regular basic black card base. This measures 5.5 by 8.5. And the piece of Whisper White here is 4 by 5.25. And I went ahead and stamped the greeting before I did the rest so that if I made a mistake on the greeting, I could always flip it over. Stamping first and then assembling is always best because there's 2 sides to every piece of cardstock. Thank goodness. This is why I don't do sewing very well, because once you cut the fabric, you're done. And typically you don't buy an entire, like, ream or whatever you call it, bolt, I think, of fabric, whereas I do buy a whole pack of cardstock, so I can always grab another piece, and that's not the case with fabric. So I actually used this image here for the inside. And And I stamped mine where the ends were actually hanging off of my cardstock so that it looked like my my stems went all the way down. But I will say one of them I messed up and my stems are floating. But it's okay. I doubt anyone would actually notice that. Except for the fact that I pointed it out to you guys. Okay, so this is going to go on the inside. And of course, now I need to find those leftover squares so I can do that triangle thing to the rest of these samples too. So there is Blackberry Bliss, Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and here's our original in Rococo Rose. I just love those triangles. I'm so glad I played with that. Okay, so now I want to show you guys how I did the Dragonfly. So let's bring back in the stamp set. So there's the dark Dragonfly and the light one, and then this is like a watercolor-ish look of the wings. So it's not a perfect stamp it exactly, fill it in sort of look. So I actually played with it a little bit. Oh, I guess the third one is this one here. So I did where I just stamped it in the color and did no fill in. And I really felt like it didn't pop. It was like too muted and too the same color. But you could always do that if you like this look. And then I used the Stampin' blends to color it in because I already had those out so that I could color my rhinestones. And I almost felt like it was too perfect and too bold, which maybe I should have used the light Rococo Rose instead of the dark Rococo Rose. And then I did the stamp set and just stamped the wings, which is a very like splattery randomness of color. And I actually really liked that one the best. So I have my piece of cardstock and I stamped it in black. So I'm using my Memento black. I already had Memento out to do the Stampin' Blends coloring one. So that's just what I used for all of them. And then I'm going to take those wings. And again, I know that this is red rubber and you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, how did you line that up? But the thing is there is no lining up. So it's okay, just wing it. So here I have Granny Apple Green. There's that Dragonfly. Hi, Becky. I know, aren't these colors gorgeous? I don't know that I ever would have put these colors together. But Rococo Rose has been a color that I keep using. I know like a lot of products are coming or, are including Rococo Rose, like this designer series paper. So that kind of forces me into it a little bit. But yeah, I've been using it so much. Like I kind of thought it was like a dirty pink mauve-y color that was kind of drab, but I'm really finding it's like not at all, and I'm using it a lot. Ooh, I almost feel like this should have been maybe stamped off once because it is so dark. That's the Blackberry Bliss. But yeah, Stampin' Up! Tends to really push me into color combinations that I would have never used before, and I love that. So one of the things is anytime you're going through the catalog or anything like that, if there is a color combination that you see and you like, write that down. The catalog is so full of inspiration and ideas to either copy or to take note from, but also color combinations. Or if you look at designer series paper, use those color combinations. Even if you don't like the paper, the color combination might be something that you like. So there's our 3 dragonflies. And of course, our 4th one is Rococo Rose. So do you guys all know that it's Thursday? Because I am totally off this week. I feel like this week has flown by. Last night before going to bed, Brad was like, I feel like today's Friday, and it so is not. And I was like, whoa. I do almost feel like yesterday felt a little bit like later in the week. It has been an absolutely crazy week. So I do feel like it should be farther along. But yeah, I just like, I'm also kind of surprised that it's already Thursday. Like, it's crazy. But you know, you always have those weeks. Some weeks drag and some weeks fly by. And like, I don't even really know what the rhyme or reason is. But sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. So now I'm just punching out my dragonfly. Also, this punch does a baby dragonfly and a big dragonfly. But I actually just did a small strip. This measures 2 inches. It was actually just a scrap piece, so that just happened to be what fit. But you could always measure this, or you could always measure on the punch. Like you could, if you just wanted the baby ones, you could measure and do like less than an inch and slide that piece in. Like here's a scrap that's probably less than an inch. So if I needed just a whole bunch of little baby white ones, then I could just slide this in and punch, slide it over, punch, slide it over, punch. And then that way I'm not, oh, some of those are missing heads and tails because I wasn't super lining it up well. But yeah, that's one great way to save on your cardstock so that you're not punching out a baby one with a big one every time if you don't have any plans to use that baby one. I definitely get stuck on colors a lot, and I then tend to just gravitate towards my typical ones. But other times I I almost pick out designer series paper or some sort of, pattern paper first, and then I let that paper sort of make my decision on what I'm going to use. Because, yeah, otherwise I would probably pick, like, Magenta Madness and I don't know, and every single time, and I can't have all my cards look the exact same. So starting with a designer series paper color, or possibly like a favorite embellishment that you like, and then going from there on a color combination. Or literally just look through the catalog and go, ooh, those colors look good, and then start with that. Okay, I'm actually going to add some little dimensionals too. As you can see, I have used all of the trim of my dimensional pack on all the other cards that I did because it fit on the wings so much better. But since that's all gone, then I'm going to use a combination of big and little dimensionals. Mostly because I just don't want my dragonfly to like be flat in spots or saggy. I want him to look like smooth across instead of like, bumped. Hi, Karen. Welcome. You probably wish it was Friday because then you would be done with another week of remote learning with the grandkids. But guess what? We're almost there. Today's Thursday, and it is a really ugly day outside. It's just like, I almost feel like we're like stuck at like 7 o'clock or something. Like the sun just can't come up because the horizon is still like light and shiny, but there's no sun. Okay, now we just play mix and match, which I will say I kept matching the colors of the squares up wrong yesterday. And I thought, well, maybe I should do one different. Like, like what if I did this rather than that? But that's for another project. These are all staying monochromatic. I've been into monochromatic a lot lately where I almost just pick like one color and I do like either various shades of it, like Rococo Rose and Blushing Bride, both pinks, or I just stick with Rococo Rose and like white or black or something. Okay, and then for the rhinestones to finish it off, I actually use the Stampin' Blends to color my rhinestones. I used the dark of each of the blends in Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Granny Apple Green, and Rococo Rose. And hopefully you can see the color. Maybe you can see it better down on the bottom. But super, like, I've obviously used a lot of them, but I just colored like an entire row and went with that. And you can put these wherever you want. These are kind of around the greeting. These are around the dragonfly. Sometimes I overthink it too much. I'm like, just put it down, Laura. I don't really think it matters. And there you have a fabulous card that uses up the designer series paper that is left over after using the big piece for a different project. So stay tuned on that one. I will be posting that one shortly, but I kind of still want to make it a little bit of a surprise. So I'm making you guys hang on to that one and not to give a sneak peek to those attending the event, which is Stamp Club. I'm so excited. I love Stamp Club because that means that those people I get to see once every 6 months, or not once every 6 months, once a month for 6 months. So they have to keep coming back to me. But we really have gained a friendship, and like they're like family to me. I absolutely love them. And I'm so excited to start the new year and see all of my club members. I am doing a virtual club where if you don't live nearby, you can still participate in club and get those awesome freebies with being a hostess. And all you have to do is sign up for the 6 months, place a minimum order of $25 or more each of those 6 months. And one of those months you get to be the hostess. So it's kind of like just getting like being a hostess without actually being a hostess. And each month you'll get the projects and everything for inspiration and ideas on using new Stampin' Up! Product. And yeah, it's so much fun. All the product will come directly to you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. And yeah, Stamp Club is so much fun. So many extra goodies. Typically it's 2 projects a month, but sometimes I can't help myself and it becomes 3 because I just get too excited sometimes. So yeah, if that is something that you might be interested in, if you love Stampin' Up! Product, and are, getting new stuff, then Stamp Club is perfect because why not get hostess benefits for all that new stuff that you want to get? So yeah, if you're interested in that, then shoot me a message, leave me a message down below in the comments, whichever you prefer. And we have a new club starting this month. My other club actually ends this month, and then we start fresh in February, but I have a new club starting this month, so you can always join into that one. So if you're interested in something like that, then let me know, as I'd love to have you join in Stamp Club. I hope you guys had fun today seeing the Dragonfly Garden stamp set and coordinating punch, which I have left in the comments in the description box, so you can check that out. This does bundle and save, so then you save that 10% whenever you get these two together using that single code rather than purchasing them separately. So that is the link that I left in the description box. And this is just one of the many samples that I've created using this awesome bundle. Stay tuned for more to come. I hope you guys will have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend as we're close. We are celebrating my family's Christmas on Sunday, so I'm super excited to see my parents and celebrate Christmas. So it should be exciting. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love, hugs, and prayers to all of you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.